Okay, Jim, we're ready to go.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Chris. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Jim Tisch, and I'll be your host today on this webcast. And before we start, we just have a few housekeeping items to review. First is, please submit your questions through the questions button, and we'll take the questions at the end of the presentation. If we don't get to all of them, we'll have them answered by Walter, who will be our speaker, or we'll follow up with you one-on-one. We'll make sure we get your questions answered. After the webcast, there's going to be an email sent out with the recording for today's webcast, and we're also going to include a data sheet with that on financial management, so that'll also be available. Well, now it's my privilege to introduce our speaker, Walter Angus. Now, Walter has been a CA PPM Senior Principal Consultant here with CA for about 11 years. And prior to CA, Walter managed application development teams for several organizations in the healthcare industry, including 2 divisions of the United Health Group and the Department of Health in the state of Arizona. So we're excited to have Walter here with us today and present. Today we're going to dive into investment and financial planning, and we're going to focus on how to best use and when to use projects, master projects, programs, and portfolios. We're going to explore the differences between each of these such that you can know which objects to use to capture and use the information to make smart strategic decisions. So we're excited to hear from Walter, and I'm going to pass the ball over to him. And so, Walter, here you go.
All right. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
We sure can.
Okay, good. And can I share my screen now? Because I'm going to be going back and forth from demo to PowerPoint. I've got the PowerPoint up. So if I could get that. Again, my name is Walt Angus. I'm a Senior Principal Consultant with CA Technology, and I'll be doing the presentation today, as Jim said. And what we're going to be talking about is CA PPM and the use of the various components and objects in here and how they roll up financially and how we can view them from the project level, master project, program, and up into the portfolios and how they work together. And help you to also understand when do I want to use one of those type of objects versus another, and what are the considerations between using, say, a master project in a program or a portfolio to help you do your strategic decisions. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here and talk about what each of these objects are and who uses them and whether they're tactical or strategic. At the very beginning here, from a project management perspective, that's the lowest level of detail or the most granular level of detail that we have in the system, and that's at the project level. That's more tactical. We're doing projects. That project may be strategic. It's typically run by a project manager, and it's going to go through a governance process for initiation. We're going to do our financial budgeting and planning, set up our schedule, assign our resources, and begin to go. We can then roll that project up into program management. By doing that, what that provides us the ability to do then is have more of a master project concept where we can have program level planning, program level change and risk management. We can coordinate project delivery, and we can measure the results of what's going on. We can also have a financial budget on the program and then see the aggregate of the multiple projects brought into this for us. So it gives us the ability to have consolidated dashboards and such to show the status and the progress of the overall program and all its sub-projects. And at the highest level and the most strategic level, we have portfolio management. And in portfolio management, what we're doing here is we can pull these programs and projects into the portfolio to begin to do that portfolio planning. What is the best set of projects to do? What are the best programs for us to do? This is more strategic, more business sponsor oriented, such that we can begin to do this type of work. So we can look at the overall investments, the risk, optimize that risk, look at the performance of the projects that we're doing and the programs that we're doing, and pull all that together. And it could potentially even be multiple programs that we pull together to do this view. And as it shows on the left and right, it's going from more tactical to more strategic, and typically what we see is more project manager, the project sponsor, and business lead and leadership doing more of the portfolio management, because that's strategic planning. If we move into this, let's do what a definition of a project is. And I really like the little slide down there. It says, I didn't have anything useful to say, so I made this pie chart. That's kind of typical, I think, sometimes. So a project is a framework where you can define and track the body of work to be executed by the project team. And we're talking about this here, and we're not with any consideration as to what the methodology is. We're looking at this as the body of work that we're doing, regardless of whether we're doing it in a agile methodology, a waterfall methodology, or a water scrum fall. So we're looking at this as a unit of work. It contains everything from tasks, the staff, cost forecasts, budgets. We can do labor, non-labor, and then the overall management risk, issues change, status reporting, and so on. We go one level deeper then. What we'll do is go into sub-projects. And here's an example of the projects. And I'm sure many of you have seen this, where we have our list of projects, and you can see what's going on with those projects and risk and stage, and see some of the schedule status in the color in the Gantt view. We've also included here a dashboard view of the e-commerce portal from the new UX that we, CA PPM now has as part of 15.1, where we can see more information, because part of managing our projects is managing it from a schedule, scope, cost and effort perspective. This dashboard is showing us a lot of that type of information that we're going to maintain about that particular project. Because the key thing is if we're not doing status of some sort on a project, who's monitoring the project? So if you look at sub-projects, and in many organizations, we're going to have a combination of projects that are related together. I've had many, many customers who utilize a master project and then literally have a phase, the first phase, planning, development, testing, and implementation, be separate projects themselves, but it all rolls up into a master project. So a master project is a grouping of related projects that are combined together for some purpose. In other words, they're achieving a common goal. They're all linked together in some manner. To establish the project links, it's very, very simple to do. You just go to the main properties, as it says right here on the left, and then add a sub-project to it, and you can do a pick list there to do that. It's actually very, very simple to do. And what we're going to talk about here today is a little bit about what this does for you, what you get out of this, and what you don't get out of having master projects with sub-projects. We look at this example. What I did is I pulled up a work breakdown structure of a master sub, and what this is it gives us the view in the PPM Gantt of when you have a master sub-project, it will pull into the Gantt view all the projects from the master into one Gantt view, so you can schedule them together, you can baseline them together, and all that. So it's going to pull them together. If you're using Microsoft Project, it will also pull them all out to Microsoft Project when you go out to schedule the master. So it's going to pull all three out, or in this case two. It's going to pull both projects out so you can schedule them together because they're dependent on each other. Programs. A program, as it says, there's a project shell. In the shell, you can identify a group of related projects, and the key thing is it's providing a top-down summary. It's providing summary views that today you don't have with a master project. In other words, the program itself is, like it says, it's a shell, and it can be used, as it says, by finance as a placeholder for an initiative budget where underlying projects have yet to be identified. And I'll show you what I mean by that and how it works both in the views that you can see and in the portfolios. In fact, I think what I'll do is I'll switch over quickly to my system, and we'll go into one of the programs. And if you look at this dashboard, what this allows us to do is this is a program, it's the online web portal program. There's 3 different projects in here that have been pulled in. You can see the actual costs of these, the initial of the financial plans, the status, the schedule, and everything about it. What you also see here is there's a financial plan on the program. Basically, what that's implying here is that the program can have a budget of its own. What that does is as you add projects, you have a total program budget, and then you would decrement that budget from the program to build up the total program. So it's one of the ways to look at it is that we're planning on $990,000. We have a variance. We've got $976,000 of the project costs pulled in so far. There may be some more. We're a little bit under budget, so we've got a variance. It's also going to do progress charts, and in this case, it's got utilization. There are some other dashboards you can also do in here, and we're going to get into the details of what the program has and what it does not. Bring this back, the PowerPoint back up. There we go. And there's that same dashboard. It might be a little easier to see there than it was on my screen. The key here is there are a number of portlets that pull in the program level that will pull projects together to give you a consolidated view of status and other things that are going on. Some of the key considerations here when you want to decide, when you're choosing whether or not you can, whether you want to use a program, a master project, or a regular project. And some of this information is in the documentation. If you look under programs, you'll see some of this. There are out-of-the-box portlets like we just saw on that dashboard. One of the things to consider is from a master project perspective, there are no portlets out of the box that will consolidate the view of the projects that are the sub-projects. So you can, so there's just no individual portlet. What you can see is you can see the sub-projects in the hierarchy tab as a representation of the various projects, and we'll show you that in just a minute. Again, the consolidated dashboard view, yes, in the on the program, sorry. Can I build my own custom portlets to show programs, master, and sub-projects? Absolutely. Using PPM Studio, you could build those at any time. What I would suggest is look at one of ours and actually take a look at the query, and you could probably copy that query, put in any extra data you need, and away you go. Does PPM have out-of-the-box program master project reports? We do on the program level. At the project level, it's individual reports. So you could develop a program level report by selecting the projects that are master sub 1 and sub 2, but it would be individual reports on each one, whereas we do have 4 program level reports. The majority of them are financial in nature. And resource considerations. This is a big one. At the program level, because it's a shell, it's actually rolling everything up into the program. There are no resources, no staff members that can be assigned to the program. In other words, I can assign a participant to the program, but I can't assign a team member that's going to do work at the program level. These will be brought up from the sub-projects and into the team tab and will be read-only. In the master project, since it's just like any other project, you can assign staff members to the individual project, master project, sub 1, sub 2. So in other words, I can't assign people that work on all 3 projects. I would have to go to each project to assign those folks to those projects. And you can always add participants in collaboration. Is there a consolidated list of staff members? Yes, there is in the program view. And again, a master project, since it's really no different than a regular project, it only shows the staff members of that master project, not those that are brought up that are in the sub-project. So that's a consideration in terms of how it works. And I'm going to get in there in a minute and just show you some of this. From a planning and financial perspective, in the program, you can use financial planning features. You can build a financial plan. The one thing to be aware of, that financial plan is not active. You will never get actuals. It's there for budgetary purposes only. In a master project, yes, you can do that. You can, since it works like a regular project, you can do a project budget. Again, it is only for that master project. It does not apply to the sub-projects. Hierarchy tab, in all cases, does consolidate view for both resources and finances. So you'll be able to see that like you can see it today. Finance enabled, leading to the ability to track costs to the investment. The program is not financially enabled. Therefore, it is used more as a budgetary and a consolidation tool. The master project, if I'm going to track costs against the master project, I can do that. But again, they're individual. They'll roll up through the hierarchy, but that's all. They're not going to be, it's not like a budget and sub-project budgets. They're all individual budgets there. Now, the key thing to think about here is many organizations, what they want to do is they want to use a program because of some of the dashboards and the reporting features, but they want to be able to track time and track dollars, administrative dollars, to program management. Now, you can't do that in a program because I cannot track time to a program because it doesn't have tasks. It can have milestones, but it doesn't have tasks. So what a lot of organizations will do is underneath the program, there will be an additional project set up that is the administrative project for that program. It's not one of the projects we're executing, but it's the administrative project, and it's just a sub-project to track the cost of the program itself and the administrative cost and the administrative time. I've seen that done many times, and just be aware, because you cannot get financials on the program, if you do have that program administration, you need to set either a new sub-project for administration or use a master project in the master project. Yes, you can track time, it's financially enabled, and you can do it that way. Now, governance considerations. Can we create and apply a work breakdown structure to the program? No, you can't. You can see the work breakdown structure from the multiple projects, and after this, I'm actually going to get into a demo of this. In a master project, yes, you can have a work breakdown structure that's active, apply tasks to it, and do all that, but you can't do it at the program because the master and the sub are going to pretty much work the same. View a collective work breakdown structure, absolutely across all of them. Create tasks. This is one thing in the program. I can create milestones and track do milestone performance and do that type of thing in there to help your status reporting and such. But I can't create any task that is connected to a task that's being actually worked on. I can't track time against it. I can't put assignments on it, that type of thing. So it's pretty much read-only. And when we extract go out to the scheduling tools like Microsoft Project, Open Workbench, or even online in the PPM Gantt, in the program, it is read-only. We can't change it there. If you're going to change a schedule for a project, you're going to go into the project itself and change that schedule. So it gives us that ability to view it, understand it, what's our progress, but it doesn't give you the ability to change the schedule at the program level. We change the schedules at the project level. Master project, when we export that, and I'll show you this also, when we export the master project out to Microsoft Project or into the PPM Gantt, the entire, all the projects associated with that will come out. So that's something to consider there. And auto schedule, again, it's only at the project's level, so I cannot auto schedule and I cannot baseline across all grouped projects at the program level. I do that at the individual project level. So those are some considerations about scheduling and how you're going to work on this. Let's go over into the system for a few minutes. If we go into this program, what we've been talking about here is on the Team tab, I have a team here, and I can see the team staff. This is an aggregation of all the people associated with the sub-projects that we've identified for this particular program. So I can have separate participants if I want, but the whole idea here is that we can see what they're planning, what the actuals are, what the ETCs are. They all aggregate up, so you can do program level reporting on variances and things like that. This is not something that you could do with a master project because they're all individual projects. From a task perspective, I do have the ability to create key milestone tasks in here. But the key is when I open this in the scheduler, in PPM Gantt, you'll see that now I have each of my projects here. They pull in, and here are those milestone tasks, and I can view the tasks and view the progress here. I cannot change it here. Just like in a master project, it would do the same thing. I have the ability to pull, it would bring out all three projects. If say, online order catalog was a master project, you would also see the other two projects. Again, it's more for visual representation, but you can also do reporting against this. So it's very handy in that respect. Financial plans, we talked about that a little bit. This is a budget for the overall program. So in this case, we've got $990,000 planned for this program. What this does is before we have projects, the thing to think about is I may have a program in mind. We don't know exactly what the projects are going to be. And from a portfolio perspective, we're going to plan at the program level and say, yes, we want to do this program. We have a budget of nearly $1 million here, and we can identify that program and work it into the mix of the projects and other programs that we're going to do in the following year or whatever the time period is. So this budget can represent the budget of the sub-projects that we're going to do. And I'll get into some considerations in a minute about using portfolios with the program and its sub-projects in it. But this allows you to have that budget for the program that I can do portfolio level planning with before I have the sub-projects that are associated with that program. Now, if we go back to the dashboard that we were talking about or viewing earlier, again, you can see here I've got $976,000 planned for these projects, and here is my budget. So, and that budget is coming from that financial plan in here. And so that's a key consideration. You can also view on the hierarchy a consolidated view of both financials. If you want to go into the detail view, you can get a detail view. Now, please note it did pull the program in here also. There's two schools of thought on the programs. The program could have an overall total budget for the program, and then you reduce that budget by the amount for each individual project as you bring it in, driving the program budget to zero, and now they become all project level budgets. And then these numbers would, the self numbers, which is the program, would go away. So you can do that as one method, and that allows you to have the program and the sub-projects in the portfolio together. So if the program budget is decremented as we add the work that we're going to do, and we can see the program budget go to zero and say, yes, we've allocated the entire budget to these projects. That is one of the more popular ways to use this, or we leave the program budget out there so we can view it on the dashboard, and we pull the projects into the portfolios versus portfolios, or the program. So different ways to think about it. You can manage risks, issues, changes at the portfolio level. These are only the risk, issues, and changes are at the program level. These are only the risk issues and changes from this program. So it's like you're administering the program. These are program-level risks. You still have all the project-level risks, issues, and changes that occur within the projects themselves. Now, the key is, in a master project, if I were to go to one of my master projects here, I'm going to be able to see many similar things, but these are like seeing their own projects. The risk issues changes are for this master project and only this master project. The team is only for this team. The financial plan is only for this project. But just like I could in the program, I can see the consolidated view and the hierarchy of both financials and resources. So I can have a very similar view in here, but the real key difference is in here I can assign a team that can apply time, have their own work that they're doing on the master project. So it depends on how you want to set things up as to how you want to do it and how you want to organize it. And for a visual representation, I'm going to go back into the PowerPoint. Go to the next slide. So this is the program master project taxonomy, where whether it's a program or a master project, the same capabilities exist in terms of organization. The real difference is master project, other than the hierarchy, does not roll up at all. So you can see project A, task A, B, C, task level dependencies, very straightforward. The key is master project. You're going to see it in the individual project at the program. I get the resources rolled up. I also get the tasks rolled up for visibility there. I get the tasks rolled up on a master project. And from a hierarchical perspective, I can see on both, I can see the financials and the resources there. We look at this a little bit further in terms of portfolios. The key thing about a portfolio is a collection of projects or investments that we're going to pull together for some purpose. They may have a common budget. They may be competing for the same funds. We may pull it together because it's a specific business unit and they come up with their amount of funds that they're going to spend. The key here is the portfolio allows us to very much understand, are we performing according to the plan? Can we model different plans to fine-tune the execution? Can we tweak and tune? As I like to say when I'm showing portfolios, do your priorities always stay the same from the time I make a plan, say in September for 2017? Do those plans stay consistent throughout all of 2017? No, they always change. The portfolio is there, whether you're pulling in the program or the projects or both. The portfolio allows you to be able to go in and take a deep look at what happens if this new project came in, this new initiative comes in, or this new program comes in. What's the impact to the constraints we have, like resources, like costs, like capital, and so on. So again, it's a grouping of investments that we can pull together for some purpose. And from an overall taxonomy perspective, in a portfolio, you can have organizational visibility across business units, have portfolio A, business unit A, so you have a little bit higher level of grouping that you can do with the portfolios. So at this point, what I'd like to do is go into the portfolios a bit. We're going to go into the business unit 1 portfolios. Again, a portfolio is a collection of investments that we're looking at possibly to find the best ROI. We can rank and prioritize our work, and we can define the ranking rules. And we can say, you know, ROI is higher is better, approved is good, and we run our ranking rules, and then we see where we run out of our primary constraints. The key here is gives us the ability to look at the information collected together. In this case, I only have projects in this portfolio. We'll go to a portfolio that also incorporates a program. So these are all the projects. Well, this does have the online web portal program brought in. Please note if the online web portal program has a financial plan, it will pull that financial plan in. So just be aware of that. And if the sub-projects of that financial plan are here, if we haven't decremented the online web portal program budget, as we've added projects to decrement it down to 0, then we will have a representation of dollars of both the program and the projects in the portfolio. So that's a key business process there that you have to consider when you're doing portfolios with programs and their sub-projects. If the program has a budget, and if we leave that budget as we showed in the one example of $990,000, if we leave that budget in full, that implies that that is another $990,000 we have to consider. So the key is if we decrement the budget as we add projects to it in the program, excuse me, what that allows us to do is have both the program with the remaining dollars and the projects together, and it's all financially perfect for you. With this, you also have the ability then to set various what-if plans that you want to use. And let me go ahead and run these ranking rules. And this gives you the ability to say, okay, what happens if my priorities have changed and I'm moving a specific plan up? I can do that. I can see what the impact is to my portfolios, to the other projects. And the whole idea here is to have you be able to plan from a position of knowledge and work with your business sponsors to say, you want this new project in, you're changing the priorities. Here is the impact based on the constraints of planned costs, capital, OPEX, role demand that we've agreed to in the past. So the portfolios are providing you a great way to make those decisions and understand the impact of changing priorities. Let's take a look at one other portfolio. And I'm just going to have to go to the portfolio list. Business Unit 9. I set this one up as an example. In this case, it's the online web portal program. You see, it does have the $990,000 budget in here for the program. The key here is you can plan with programs before they have the project. What most organizations are going to do, and is they have a business process that when they add e-commerce portal, they decremented the original budget, which was $2 million by $417,000. Okay, we're going to apply that budget to the project, but it's part of this program. When they add the next one, they would decrement it by $246, because the key is if we put that program budget out there and we have the program and its sub-projects together, if we're not decrementing the budget, we may replicate that budget amount. You can have the program in a portfolio with its overall budget before I have projects to do priority planning and all that. That works beautifully. Just be aware, when I have both the projects and the program, I need to be decrementing this budget as I add new projects to it if I'm going to have both the program and the projects in the same portfolio. So this would then imply this is the remaining budget. We've only spent about $900,000 or $1 million of a $2 million budget. So just to give you an idea, in this case, well, it's $1.9 million budget was the original budget. What I would do and what I see folks do in this is they will create on the program, let's go to the program. You will have an initial budget on the program. Then when we add a new project, we're going to create a new financial plan that has the decremented budget. That becomes the plan of record. So you can track with additional financial plans as we add new projects. We create a new financial plan. It's decremented in budget. So you can always go back and see what the original program budget was and where we are now, how much we've expended of that program or assigned of that program budget to these sub-projects. So the whole idea here is to give you a way to manage your projects, group them either into programs or into master projects, and then have visibility of them in the portfolios. The master sub-projects, because they act independently, can all be in a portfolio together and they have no impact on each other. So that's just something to be aware of. And that's one of the key things that we wanted to make you aware of as part of this presentation. At this point in time, I'm at a point where I'm happy to start taking some questions and things. So if we can open it up for questions.
Yep, Walt, we're going to open it up for the question line now. So for if you have questions, please go to the Q&A section, and you can ask your questions there. And we'll just take them one by one as we receive those questions. So one of the questions that came in, Walter, was in the presentation you mentioned using programs with sub-projects. Is this something that you need to be an advanced EA PPM user to do?
No, absolutely not. You do not need to be. The key is the program, because it's a shell, because the program is a shell that is grouping the projects together, it's not something that changes the projects in any way. So if I have the projects, I can group them at any time, and it doesn't hurt the projects at all. It just provides another level of visibility for you and your organizations to view the overall program and projects together in a single dashboard. So is it an advanced function? Not really, because if you have the projects and you consider those 3 projects as a grouping, I can pull them in here. It's whether or not you want to use a program or a master project that is more the difference. You can't hurt the projects at all by grouping them into a program. It's very simple to do, as we saw, and so you just literally go here, go to the properties, add the sub-projects, so you create the program just like you would create any other project. You go to the program list, hit new, create it, add the sub-projects. It doesn't hurt the projects at all. It's just a simple grouping that you can use to get some more advanced reporting and visibility into. So no, I don't think you need to be an advanced user. You just have to say, yes, I want to look at this as a program.
Perfect. Thanks, Walt. Another question that came in was, how can ideas play a part in the planning?
Say that again.
How can ideas play a part in the planning?
Good question. Well, the ideas become those projects. And a project can be converted into a program. So if an idea came in that ultimately, and I've got my ideas here, if an idea came in and we realized it's really going to be a program, once you go through your governance process for that idea that's program level, you convert it to a project, and then what we'll do is go into the, let me just pick a project here. Here we go. And we're going to ultimately convert it to a program. And that's literally by checkbox in the properties, and we would change it to a program. Now, this project I can't because it's active, got team members on it, financial plan and all that. But you can convert that project, which is created from an idea, to a program. Right now, out of the box, we create projects, not programs, but you could probably tweak that idea process to create a program based on some input that's in the idea also. So good question. So create the program from an idea or create the project and then switch it to a program.
Thanks, Walt.
Any other question? Yep.
Yeah, there's another question. There's another question, Walter. If a user does not have access to one or more of the projects in a program, will that change the rolled up numbers for that user?
Well, that's a good question, because normally, yes, it probably will, because it won't be able to pull it in as it would normally, because it's going to check security to do that. Do I have access to this? Because it's doing a live read of these projects and a live read of that through the hierarchy. I would have to test that to be sure, and I'm going to write that one down, and we'll get something out to folks on that. But I don't think you're going to see it. If a sub-project is not one you're allowed to see, I don't think you're going to see it.
We'll get that posted on the community or in an email back to Patrick, who asked that question. We'll make sure that's answered so that you know that. Are there any other questions from the on the phone line on the WebEx? Again, you can go to the Q&A tab and ask these questions, and then we'll just respond. Okay, well, I just want to say thank you very much for your time today and providing this webcast. For those that are participants in the webcast, we'd really appreciate if you would take a minute and rate the webcast. There's a poll that's out there, and this is something that we take seriously and review so that we get better as well. And this is very good webcast, and again, we'll promote this on the community, make it available for the download, and also provide a PDF of a financial management data sheet. It will also be available for download. So at this point in time, I want to say thank you, and we appreciate it. Thanks, Walt.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.